Hi everybody, it's Matt here for lecture number 2. Um, Hopefully you had an ability to move through all of our first lecture material so you have a sense of what these experiences are going to be like. And I wanted to let you know that I'm recording this just before our orientations, and so if things came up there that you had questions about, I can try to attend to them in the next lecture, or you can connect with Stacy as well. Our focus in this lecture today is on learning about or some models for what to share when you are the facilitator for our reading circles, and bring up some model entries that are models of what you might submit. And then we'll engage in a kindergarten literacy video workshop today that focuses on kindergarten because it is a area of teaching that sometimes gets a little short shrift if you're not intending to be a kindergarten teacher, but it's really important to know some ways to support our youngest learners, and also engaging in phonemic awareness in phonics. So this is kind of the skills end of the continuum for literacy development with some accompanying videos today. And so here we go. And what I would recommend as you're engaging today is find a space to take some notes for yourself, because you'll hear me talking, you'll see the text on the screen, but you're going to probably also want to engage in your own note taking, because all three of those can triangulate and work in terms of your learning. So today's learning goals are to understand the process for how and what to submit for reading circles when you are the facilitator. So again, those reading circles are going to start in session 3. So not this session, but you need to meet with your reading circle group. Next Monday would be the first one. Learn how to situate early literacy learning in an authentic classroom context through some video workshops. Further develop an understanding of how to build students' phonemic awareness and understanding of letter-sound relationships, or phonics. So making sure that we understand the difference between phonologic or phonemic awareness and phonics as part of literacy growth for young children. Not the only thing, but just part of what we work on are those skill development. And throughout the day and throughout all of our lectures, just continue to develop your own inner professional voice. So as you hear me engaging and you're engaging with this material, try to engage with it as a teacher. And what can you put into that filing system for what you're going to be able to learn, hang on to, and use later? And throughout the day, I'm going to just find these moments of pausing to take a big breath, because this is a lot of information. And so these are just meditative moments where I'm going to ask you to breathe in about 2 or 3 times when you see a nature slide. Okay, so this is the first one. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. All right, just like last time, we are going to begin with a little bit of music with my trusty auto harp. You might be curious about what an auto harp is. It's an old instrument. You might have seen one before, but again, you just push one button and you get a chord, which is kind of nice. So if you're not really an instrument player, it's a good way to be able to sing songs, since a lot of songs that kids sing are just like 3 or 4 chords. So this one's called I Had a Rooster. I think I'm covering up a little bit of that. So I had a rooster. Yeah. And the chorus goes like this. You can sing along or bring your friends in, or just stare at me blankly. That's fine too. All right, it goes like this. And I'm going to try to tie in a little bit of skills development, because we're going to be talking about phonologic awareness today. And so we're going to build in a little bit of that. I had a rooster, my rooster pleased me. I fed my rooster 'neath a cottonwood tree. My little rooster says cock-a-doodle-doo, dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doo. I had a k, ow. Do that with me. K, ow. Now put those 2 sounds together. Cow. Cow. Nice. Let's try that. I had a k, ow, cow. Cow, my cow, please me. I fed my cow 'neath a cottonwood tree. My little cow says, moo, moo. Let's try that. Moo, moo. Moo, moo, moo. My little rooster sings cock-a-doodle-doo, dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doo. All right, so that's the way it goes. Like you add animals each time, then go back to the animals that you already visited. So let's try another couple of them. All right, I had, anybody have any ideas out there? Oh, I heard dog. All right, let's stretch that one out by each individual sound. It's what we call syllabication. D, A, G. Put it together. Dog. Let's try that again. I had a D, A, G. Dog. Good. A dog, my dog pleased me. I loved my, or what did I say? I fed my dog 'neath the cottonwood tree. My little dog says, let's do that again. Same individual sounds. W, f, woof. Good. Woof, woof, woof. My little cow says moo, moo, moo. My little rooster says cock-a-doodle-doo, dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doo. All right, one more. I had a, what could we choose? Let's do one with syllables. Let's do buffalo. So I had a buffalo. Buffalo. Buffalo, my buffalo pleased me. I fed my buffalo 'neath a cottonwood tree. My little buffalo says, what does a buffalo say? Oh, do you have an idea over there? Oh, that's a good one. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, let's try that. My little buffalo says, ooh, ooh, ooh. My little, what was the one we just did? Dog says, woof, woof, woof. My little cow says, moo, moo, moo. My little rooster says, cock-a-doodle-doo, dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doodle-dee-doo. Nice job. All right. So I'm going to set that down. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about today is when you engage the manipulation of sounds. So we just did different things with this song that included onset and rhyme. So an onset would be an initial sound before the vowel, and the rhyme, which is spelled R-I-M-E, is the in a one syllable or syllable word is the words that follow it. So in a word like cow, it'd be k, ow. We also engaged in phonologic or phonemic segmentation. So that's just individual sounds like d, a, g. And we also played around with syllabication, which is breaking words into individual syllables. So what we're going to learn a little bit later today is that if children have about, 4 or 5 ways to manipulate those sounds in spoken language, that really contributes to both their ability to listen and segment those sounds and put them back together and then later decode words. And so it's a foundational base for what we want children to be able to do, and something that gets a little bit of extra attention in the early grades, like kindergarten or even late preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. All right. So this is just a reminder. This is actually a vestige of an old slide when we were doing discussions together. But what you want to do with our readings is, and the discussions that you're going to have with your reading circles, is balance listening with speaking, helpful strategies, pointing at the text when you say, like, Taberski on page 7 says the following. What do you all think about that? And paraphrasing what other people are saying. So facilitators, when you come into your group with ideas, or I'm sorry, with questions to ask them, you can think along these lines. It doesn't have to all be like question answer kinds of prompts, but say, everybody, I want everybody to look on page 6. Read that paragraph. Who has some thoughts about that? Or you might read a little passage out loud and ask people for their impressions. Or you might ask a specific question and you might paraphrase something else that you've heard. So try to engage in a really authentic conversation when you do move into those readings discussions. Today you don't have that opportunity, and so we're just going to bank the reading that you did today as foundational to the work you're doing. That included some of the videos from YouTube that were part of your readings for this session. But here are some questions that I came up with, things for you to kind of see if you cued into these things for today's reading discussion. So what are children's essential needs as readers, writers, and thinkers? What ideas were you drawn to? And then some talking points. And you can download these slides if you want to get a sense of, areas like building background knowledge and metacognitive strategies and the connections between reading and writing. And then you read this phonics and spelling little section. And so you can take a look at 2 questions like, what are high frequency words and word families? Why is it helpful to approach them? Why is knowing the letter names sometimes confusing? If you think about that, when you sing the alphabet song, you get to LMNOP, and many children will think that LMNO is one letter, for example. Or they might think that a C makes an S sound usually, and it sometimes does, but not very frequently. And so just be thinking about that, and supports for phonologic awareness. So these are the kinds of questions that if you are a facilitator, you might be considering to bring into your group. And then from the YouTube videos, I have these questions. What are some strategies that you found effective to support children's literacy learning from those videos? Why are nonsense words perhaps a helpful assessment tool? And anything else that sparked your curiosity. So things to keep in mind. Okay, if you are the Readings Circle facilitator, I've got some models here to share with you about how other people in the past have structured their one-page summaries. So I'm going to bring up a first model here, and I'll try to expand this so that it fits the screen pretty well. We'll transfer it over in a sec. So you can see that this author was a facilitator on this day, and it was for this day of readings and for this session. And you can see that this author wrote the questions that they brought to their group, and then they talked about they synthesized what their group talked about. So what are some creative ways to promote fluency, etc.? What are some ideas for how to use English language learners, primary or first language, to help foster second language growth? And the goal of the facilitator is not to provide the answers, but to synthesize their group's conversation. And you are going to be a participant in the conversation if you are the Reading Circle facilitator, but you are likely going to be taking more notes and providing those initial prompts and questions more than you are participating when you are the facilitator in your group. All right, and here's just another structure. It looks kind of similar, but here the author put all of their prompts up at the top in their summary, and then they just used paragraphs to go through their group's discussion, and that took about a page. And it looks like this one comes from a little bit later in the quarter from some of our readings. And finally, this is somebody who facilitated, and they just kind of embedded their questions inside and talked about what their how their group members responded to those questions. And they did some direct quoting of members of their group, so they were typing along as the discussion happened. And again, takes about a page. So you can decide what format works for you, but we're aiming for about a page that synthesizes the your group's discussion each time. And don't forget that if you are the facilitator, you are going to be sending the members of your group a Zoom invitation, and Stacy and me, so that we can pop in occasionally and see how things are going. And finally, on this slide, it's just a reminder to submit your summaries to the appropriate Canvas assignment. So it'll be, when you are the facilitator, your first time that you facilitate, you'll submit to number 1, second time number 2, that's like about mid-quarter, and toward the end of the quarter, your third synthesis or summary. If by chance you're ever ill and unable to facilitate your reading circle summary, that would be unfortunate because you're going to be leaving your group members in a lurch. I would suggest emailing your questions to a member of your group, and then your responsibility would be to submit a strong one-page synthesis of all of the readings instead of recording your group's conversation. All right, nature shot. Chance to do a little bit of breathing. That's me and my daughter Claire on a backpacking trip last summer. It was really fun. It rained a lot. All right, I'm going to open with this slide just to bring up the different areas of literacy support that we want to ensure that students get a chance to encounter in their early years. And so you'll see around this whole cycle of literacy learning, I can start anywhere, but we have whole class and small group instruction. We have some skills building focused on phonologic awareness and phonics and letter-sound relationships. We have interactive writing and writer's workshop. We're spending some time building their vocabulary and content knowledge through our read-alouds and engagements with science and math and social studies and other content areas. We give them chances for abundant reading material and opportunities to read, both within our classroom libraries and visits to libraries and leveled books. Ongoing observations that we are doing, and assessment that is going to be the focus of a big part of our first part of the class. We're also collaborating with families and doing things like take-home reading programs and providing some take-home activities they can do, and making sure that the things that we are doing are motivating and interesting and engaging and developmentally appropriate for young learners. Today's focus is going to be over in the phonologic awareness and phonics end of that continuum, and across the quarter we're going to be moving around this cycle. So there is one link on this page you'll see over in the read aloud section. It says concepts of prints, and that's you can go to our Canvas page and click on the link that says slide 8 Claire read aloud. That's my daughter Claire when she was a lot younger, about 3 I think, and you can watch that video and pay attention to what Claire knows about books, even though she is not decoding text yet. She's not actually reading it, but try to look for all the things that she knows about books from her engagement in a read aloud with us. And she knows things like left to right directionality. For text, she knows what the illustrations can do in terms of showing meaning. She knows how to ask questions while she reads. And so it's just an example of how important the reading out loud is for children in the early years, because it really conveys so much information about how books work and what books can do and all the different things that books can offer us. So take a pause right now and go take a look at that video. All right, you're pausing, and now we're going to play. All right, we're going to keep going. All right, so phonologic and phonemic awareness, what is the difference? Well, phonologic awareness is this kind of overarching umbrella of the ability to be both aware of and manipulate the sound structures of speech. And so it's this broad category of being able to listen for sounds and do things with those sounds in words. It's crucial for reading and spelling because you need to know how to break apart words and put them back together and recognize different parts of words in order to read. So it's a helpful skill to develop before you're actually doing a whole lot of decoding. So we're often engaging phonologic and phonemic awareness in those earlier grades, preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. Phonemic awareness is a subset of phonologic awareness, so it's the individual sounds in a word. So it's the phonemes, that's the smallest unit of sound in a word. So in a word like boat, you would hear b, o, t, 3 different phonemes. So it's the smallest unit of sound in a child's ability to manipulate those individual phonemes and then potentially put them back together. And phonics is when we take that understanding of sounds and attach them to letters and letter patterns. So if we go back to that boat example, it's not just knowing that O makes a sound in the word boat, but it's eventually learning that the O and the A together make that one sound. And it's learning the different combinations of letters, or that in a word like think, the T and the H together make just one sound. It's a digraph. That's TH. So those are the kinds of things that we work on when we're working on phonics. So now is an opportunity to just pause really quickly and head to our Canvas course to slide number 9, Fat Cat. It's a little clip from Sesame Street that I think you will enjoy that gets at some of this focus on phonemic awareness. And when you are done, we'll play again. All right, so you just watched Fat Cat. It's a classic. It was, I think, made back in 1973. That was Jim Henson doing the voice of the main dude there, little hippie dude. And that's one that I remember from when Sesame Street first came out. That's how old I am, but I do remember that one. And that's the great thing about when you're working with phonologic awareness, when you want to build in sort of engaging, repetitive, music-based, rhythm-based activities to engage in the ways of manipulating sounds. So when we talk about phonologic awareness, there are 3 levels of increasing complexity. The first level is the least complex, and that's awareness of when you hear a word that it's a word. A cluster of sounds is a word. It's also parallel to that is your ability to rhyme, fat, cat, bat, mat, etc. And syllable awareness is hearing the word alligator and knowing that that might be 4 syllables. Many times syllables are first started with children's names because that's what they know the best when they first are starting schooling. And so Letitia, Matthew, etc. And you can do that as a round robin activity to start engaging those sounds. At a second level, you have the ability to listen for beginning and ending phonemes. So what is the first sound in the word mattress? What is the last sound in the word mattress? S. Alliteration is your ability to come up with words that begin with the same sound. So what's a word that begins with the same beginning sound as boat? Ball. And onset and rhyme is your ability to, again, break apart words into the sound, 1-syllable words into the sound before the vowel and the sounds including the vowel and after. So in a word like ship, it would be sh, ip. Or think, it would be th, ink. Or in stripe, it would be str, ipe. So that's onset and rhyme. And then level 3, it would be these segmenting. It's the ability to break words apart into individual sounds. So again, using the word think, th, k, 4 individual sounds there, segments. Or hear that th, k, and put them back together. That's blending. Or manipulate phonemes. So if I take the word think and I take out the th sound and I put in a p sound instead, what word do I have? Pink. And so it's manipulating by adding, or if I take think and I take out the sound th, what word is left? Ink. So that's a deletion or substituting different words. So that's the most complex level of phonologic awareness. All right, so this slide is going to have quite a few videos to stop and start with, but I think they're all really helpful. What can you do to support phonologic and phonemic awareness? You can first provide opportunities to manipulate phonemes and connect work to printed letters. The words that way their word study approach that we're going to learn in this class really does that well, where children might have pictures of certain words and then sort them into beginning sounds, for example. And we'll go much more through that, and I have an example of it coming up. You want to make sure that children have opportunities to learn or engage in one of or two of these skills at a time. If you get to let 4 or 5 different ways, phoneme segmenting, blending, individual phonemes, syllables, that's all that really children need, because they'll be able to apply those skills later when they start attaching those skills to letters and letter combinations. And then you want to make engaging activities, such as listening and creating variations on books or songs. So here's another Sesame Street example here, the OP family. So pause, go take a look at that video really quickly. Kind of have that screen up to the side because we're going to keep going back there. Fun video. All right, so the next one is sorting. I just mentioned sorting pictures, objects, and written words by a sound or sounds. And so I'm going to pause right here in a sec, but I want to tell you that this is a kindergartner named Eleanor, who is the daughter of one of our faculty members and the director of our LLC program, Steph Strachan. And Eleanor is wonderful, and she's doing some sorting here, and you can go look at her. It's labeled Slide 11, Eleanor Sort. And then we want opportunities for segmenting sounds in words. And I'm going to bring up this resource. It's available to you on Canvas also, but these are called Elkonin boxes. And these boxes are helpful. You can, when children are just starting to work with phonemic awareness, you can give them a little coin or a button or a little circle, a little game piece, and they make the sounds as they push them, each individual phoneme as they push them into a box. So ah, n, t, b, ah, t, b, e, ch. And you can see that these boxes are a little bigger in the last two sound because later children can write in these letters when they're working on phonics activities, and knowing that there are more than one letter here is helpful. So there's an EA that would go in here and a CH to make one sound here, but they each still make one sound. And so there's a whole collection of Elkonin boxes that you can have for your future file here, and they can make really good independent activities for students or partner work as well. And so nursery rhymes, poetry, tongue twisters, word games, etc. are all helpful. You just don't want to make it drill and kill. You want to find these engaging ways to engage in the manipulation of phonemes. And then there's a couple more video examples here that I think are really strong. The next is skills development with some helpful engagement. It's a video workshop that's a little bit longer, but it's not just focused on phonologic awareness and phonics, but you can really see how this rolls out in a classroom. I believe this is a kindergarten classroom, and a teacher named Charmin, or Char, I think that's her name, Charmin or Cheryl. And you take a look at this workshop. It's really worth your time. And then there is a second video workshop focused on rhyming, or a rhyming chart, and connections to letters as well. That one you could do a little bit of skipping ahead, like get a sense of things, skip ahead, get a sense of it, skip ahead to the end. But watch those two video workshops. Should take about 25 to 30 minutes for both of them, which will, it'll take a little bit of time, but really worth your time. Take some notes as you go to get a sense of the strategies that are used. And with the videos, I think it is crucial that you get a sense of what this looks like in the classroom. We don't have that opportunity this quarter, so spend some time with the video so you get a real strong sense of what this work is like with children. All right, take a little breather. Okay. So now we're on slide 13, and we're exploring beyond phonologic awareness. What is phonics, or word study? Phonics is when we're teaching children the relationship between the letters and letter patterns of written language and the sounds that those patterns make. So it's knowing that EA is a vowel digraph that makes one sound, or that CH is a consonant digraph that makes one sound, or that STR is a consonant blend. You can hear each sound, but it's a blend, str. And so it's attaching those different sounds and patterns to language. Take a pause and see how a teacher is approaching that through some alphabet cards. That's slide 13, alphabet cards and chanting. It's the phonics is the pairing of sound with letter or letters that represent that sound. So it could be single letters, could be vowels and vowel combinations, vowel blends, and consonant digraphs. When you hear the word blend, it usually means you can hear each of the sounds. And when you hear the word digraph, it means that one or more letters is making just one sound. So in a word like thought, the O-U-G-H is ah is one sound. So that's like a cluster that is a digraph. So some ways you can approach word study in phonics are through word sorts. And we're going to be using the words their way approach, and the video here that's called Word Sort Example, slide 13, is an example of a word sort. And a teacher gets to walk you through it, and you get to see kids do it. So highly recommended. Pause. Play. We also will be learning this quarter word study games. And so there are a lot of games that like follow a game board or allow you to roll dice and move pieces, or do kind of drawing games like do you have a blank and do you have a blank? Things that build healthy repetition and sensory engagement into the learning of these patterns. And so these games will accompany the sorts, and that's what you'll be designing later on for your word study assignment. The last video on this page that you're going to watch is an interactive writing morning message. And so that's a great way to start approaching letters and letter sounds and patterns together in meaningful ways, because the morning message lets kids know what's going to happen that day, but it gives them an opportunity to engage with words and letters as well. So pause and take a look at the video called slide 13, morning message. And before we leave this slide, I just wanted to note special consideration for high frequency words. So this is these lists of words that are very common in young children's reading and writing, but often, unfortunately, have oddball spelling patterns. And so they have to learn these words as whole words. Words like said don't look like sa'id, or she isn't sahi, or who isn't wahaw, or wasn't was. And so full analysis of these high frequency words, like playing with them as whole words and playing go fish and looking at them and chanting them and going through them. There was an example of that actually in the earlier video example on slide 11 in the skills development with engagement video, where the teacher was working with some high frequency words in that way. So you'll be assessing, or we'll be going into more about high frequency words as we move toward the assessment assignment. Okay, so the major thing that you're going to do today in this lecture is take a look at about a 20-minute or so video workshop. I love this video workshop. It features a male kindergarten teacher named Jim, and it's focused on a student named Talia. And Talia is, again, just about at grade level, but is a young kindergartner. And the workshop features how Jim supports her literacy learning throughout the year. So I'd like you to take some notes for yourself on things like Talia's progress. How do her literacy skills develop over the year? What factors influence her development as a reader and a writer? Do you think she's progressing well? Why or why not? Or questions that are coming up for you. Take a look at the classroom environment. You'll see this mix of play and academic engagement, and that's really appropriate for the kindergarten classroom. So take a look at that, and how does that support her literacy learning? And then the ways that there is a school to home connection happening as well. This is a bilingual school, and so you'll see engagement. She has a Spanish speaking teacher and Jim is an English speaking teacher, and you'll see some engagement there as well. Highly recommended. Please don't give it short shrift, and take your own notes, and I think it'll really help fill in some ideas for you as you engage. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video workshop, and that was titled Talia Learns the Details, slide 14. We're almost done for today's lecture. Next time we're going to really delve into our assessment assignment, and unlike normal, you will not be working with a student for this assignment, but rather I'm going to model the range of assessments by videotaping myself doing them with a second grade student and give you all of the assessments scanned that you can analyze and then work through the assignment. And so we'll talk more about that next time, but this lists the range of assessments you'll be engaged with. Some of it's repetitive across days, but we'll talk more about that list next time. You don't have to worry about it as much right now, but you could pause this slide just to kind of take a look at things. And this would be the way we would normally do it in class, where you'd be administering these assessments. Instead of administering the assessments, you'll be watching me administer them, and then you will analyze that data for the assignment. All right, for next time, we're going to be beginning your readings circles, and so they will take place next time. And let's see, I'm going to bring up the schedule for that. Just a minute. Okay, so this is just a reminder. We went over this, I believe, in the orientation. But if you are in the Monday, Wednesday section, and you are reading circle group 1, you will meet with Stacy first between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. Technically, you can engage in this lecture at 2 to 3:30, but you could also do it before then. But at 3:30, you'll show up and meet with Stacy, and she will send you the invitation for that meeting. And then if you are reading circle facilitator, you will send an email invitation, an Outlook invitation or the link to your group members for your reading circle discussion at 4 o'clock after that meeting with Stacy. If you are in group 2, you will meet first for reading circles. So facilitators will send the invitation to their peers, and Stacy will send you an invitation for a meeting with her at 4 o'clock. And if you are in group 3 on Monday, the facilitator will send the invitation for reading circles at 3:30 to 4, and you won't be meeting with Stacy until Wednesday. So hopefully that makes sense. And the same is true for Tuesday, except it's just different times. So if you're group 1, 9:30, you will meet with Stacy, 10 o'clock reading circles. And again, facilitators need to send that invitation for their reading circles, and Stacy will send the invitation for her meeting with you. Group 2 it flips, so reading circles at 10:30 or 9:30. Facilitators send that invite, then Stacy sends the invite for 10, and group 3, 9:30 to 10, just reading circles with facilitators sending that invitation. And the group 3 will meet with Stacy at 9:30 in the morning the following Thursday. Hopefully that makes sense. Contact Stacy if it doesn't, and be sure to invite both me and Stacy to your reading circle discussions if you are the facilitator, because we want to be able to pop in and pop out. And just a reminder that if you are the facilitator for a Monday reading circle, you submit your synthesis by Thursday at 1, Tuesday, Thursday at 1, Wednesday, Monday at 1, Thursday, Monday at 1. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So facilitators, you're going to have your prepared questions and prompts for your group. You could share your screen if you want to, just to show them your prompts, but you can just say them out loud too, that's fine. The focus on your readings is Taberski Chapter 2 and a Canvas reading from the required readings module. It's called Reading Aloud to Children of All Ages. And so those are the two readings to focus on for next time. Next time we will also have an online lecture workshop on how to do a running record. It's like the key assessment. And so I'm going to build that in as an online module, and that should be interesting. I'll do my best. And I would like everybody to download the assessment assignment required assessments packet from the Canvas module. So go in, look for the assessment assignment, and download the packet, because we'll start going through that next time in class. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for your kind attention, and I hope that these lectures are helping you and that they're paced well enough for you to understand, and that you are finding the going to videos and coming back a good way to learn this material. All right, take care.